And now for the methodology. The way we'll be doing this is based on the Pimsleur method. For this, why don't you grab the transliteration workbook once again and look at the second line in Al-Fatiha, which starts Alhamdu. Now, the Pimsleur method is based on breaking down a word into smaller parts, which we already have done so in the transliteration by breaking it down to syllables, and then repeating loudly after the teacher's voice. The words are built up slowly starting from the end, and then with frequent repetitions, they're committed to memory. For example, take the word Alhamdu for instance. The way we'll be doing it is like this. I will first say do, and then you will repeat after me in a loud voice. Then we'll say ham, and you'll repeat after me. Then we'll practice these separately, like do, ham, hamdu, hamdu. And similarly, keep adding syllables. Then, as we learn different words, then we start joining the words together. Now, in the Arabic language, the words are often not separate. They can be separate, but they also sometimes blend into each other, and we'll be practicing that as well. Now, it is critical that you repeat loudly after me. For the success of this method, it is absolutely essential. The more you'll repeat, the more loudly you'll repeat, and the more frequently you practice, the smoother, inshallah, your pronunciation of the different phrases and verses will become. For this reason, a lot of people simply practice this most frequently when they're in the car, when they're driving, when there's nobody else around, because they can freely and loudly repeat after the teacher. We already talked about using similar sounding words from English to better understand and better pronounce the Arabic words. We also briefly touched on the different types of letters in terms of they being full-mouthed or light. The example I gave was of the L and R, but the other letters in the Arabic language can also be broadly classified into either the lighter letters or the full-mouth ones. I like to call them the letters of smiling, or the smiley letters, and the letters of awe. Just like when you say the word awesome, what you do with this awe part of the word is you bring your lips closer into this O shaped and you puff up your cheeks, so it sounds like awe. Same thing with some of the letters. The more you puff up your cheeks and the more you bring your lips into a circle, the better they'll sound. For example, take the word va. If I don't bring my lips together in a circle or puff up my cheeks, it'll sound like va, while the real pronunciation is va. And in fact, the more you exaggerate in this pursing up of the lips and puffing of the cheeks, the better they sound. Other words would be like fad. Now, the other group, which is a letter which make you smile, or the smile letters, will sound their best the more broadly you smile. For example, take the letter S. So if I want to say sit, the more I smile, sit, or the letter R in ring, ring. The more I broadly smile, the better they will sound. This becomes more obvious as you start reading the Arabic words. It doesn't sound as obvious when we say the English words that I gave you examples of just now. Now, let's compare the two letters. The S, seen, with the full-mouthed S, the sad. So if I say siratu, with a smile, it becomes that seen, siratu. But let's say if I want to do the thickened versions of both the S and the R in this, siratu. The more I puff up my cheeks, the more I bring my lips together to form that aw kind of a configuration for my mouth, the better they'll sound. So a lot of time you'll hear me refer to a letter as the aw letter or the smiley letter. And what I mean by that is just exaggerate in forming your mouth that way, and the better you'll sound, inshallah. Just two things before you wind up. One, the more you practice, the better you'll get. So once you learn the particular verse or a phrase from the Salat from the learning tracks, I would say go to the practice track for that verse. Play it over and over again, put it on a loop, and say with it over and over again until it really becomes very, very smooth, very natural to you. And lastly, if at all possible, record yourself saying it. Because a lot of times when we are playing the track and we are hearing a lot of the original teacher's voice and we try to repeat with it, we don't really realize that we are actually making a mistake. But once you say it yourself into a recording device and then play it back to yourself, you'll figure out exactly where you're making the mistakes. And that often is the best way of correcting yourself.